Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Jenna, Debbie, and everyone out there. Uh, so we are from Mainstay Housing. Our project is around tenant engagement and goal coaching. So for the next slide, we have our team. Sandra Smith is our tenant team member. Unfortunately, she is not here with us today. Uh, but rest of us, we are here. We have Joshua Pittery, staff team member. We have Michelle Costa. We again supportive housing worker and the staff team member. Perveen Merchant, the manager of 10 member services, and also the staff team member. I'm leading that project, and we have Vlada Peters. Unfortunately, she's also not here today, but she's executive sponsor for this project. In the next slide, we can see why we came up with this project. You can see the first point is, we have seen staff spend significant amount of time in engaging in crisis-driven work, which of course limit the time, available for other work, which is more preventative intervention with our tenant members. So that was one of the reasons. The other thing is supported by data. We have seen in the last fiscal year, in the entire year, only 9% of our tenant members participated in goal coaching, which is on an average, we have seen only 2% participated in each month. So it's a quite low compared to what we want to reach. So that is one other reason that we have taken this project. And the other reason is, the approach addresses the problem within the moment instead of having a more long-term solution. So we wanted to have more long-term solutions focused around 10 members in identifying goals and working on it rather than in short terms. And the other piece is, we want to engage with our tenants in one-on-one goal coaching in identifying and achieving their goals. Everyone has their goals, and our 10 members has their goals as well. Even though we hear sometimes that 10 members or the people do not have goals, but everyone in fact have their goals. So these are the reasons why we came up with this project, and you can see the problem statement is the reflection of the story that we have presented. Is tenant in our general program. So we have quite a few other programs. So we focused on our general program, which is the which is the most important area for us to work on for these projects. So in tenants in our general program who we score highest in Mainstay's unmet needs assessment tool, we have assessment tool that we use in Mainstay, to assess our tenants with which are the tenants who are higher in their unmet needs. So we use that tool. So again, using that tool is we found that they experience significant challenges in setting and achieving their personal goals. So that is the problem statement, and the problem that we came up in the the other side of the coin is the aim statement. So by end of this fiscal year, which is March 31st, tenants participation in goal coaching related to housing stability will be increased to 20% of general program tenants. So we have seen is around 2% each month, 9% in the entire year. That is in fact the total. So when you see in our next slides, you will see in fact the unique tenants that we have focused on. So we're going to go forward the diagnostic journey. I like Michelle Kostov to present the diagnostic journey. So over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Azad. So I'll quickly talk about, as Azad mentioned, the diagnostic journey that we went through. So we used all the tools. We worked on a fishbone, the 5 whys, the Pareto chart, and the process mapping. We also did the experience-based co-design with our tenants. So we had 3 focus groups. About 14 tenant members came out. And what we learned from them, we incorporated into our process. We also worked on a process map, on a current state process map, and we realized that it was not detailed enough. So we had to go back and create a future state process map that could clearly identify and have more detail that we needed in order to understand the goal coaching process that the tenants and us go through together. When we were working on the future state process map, it was actually quite helpful in identifying some of the change ideas that we had considered. So for example, we were able to come up with a change idea that was a tool that can be given to tenant members and to staff when working on the goals. So what did we learn about our problem? So we learned that health is a big factor that can affect the goal coaching process. And also that there is an unclear process and not enough standardization within the whole goal coaching program. What was the most surprising thing that we learned? So we thought that the roles weren't clear enough between the various support staff, so the supportive housing workers, the peer support workers, and the case managers that all work together to support the tenant. There was not enough clarity as to what support each person was providing, but we also found out that the tenant members were in the same situation, as there was also not enough clarity about the different staff functions. So how does the supportive housing worker and the peer support worker and the case manager, how do they support the tenant member? So the two process maps, you could see the first, if we can go to the next slide, I believe. Is it possible to go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so that was the first one that we worked on, and that was when we realized that there is not enough detail there. We definitely needed to expand on it. So if you move over to the next slide again, please. If we could look, yeah, that was what the second one ended up looking like. So we definitely wanted to expand on what we got, the feedback from the tenant members and all the tools that we incorporated, and to make it an ongoing process, because we realized that goal coaching can be ongoing and continuous. So to go over to the next slide that I'll be talking about is some of the root causes that we identified. So as kind of mentioned previously, health concerns that's acute or chronic can be a major impact on setting, achieving goals, lack of knowledge, and goal coaching clarification process. So as we mentioned, there was a bit of confusion about what exactly goal coaching is. This is something new that we're working on with our tenants, so there may not be enough information out there for them to know that this is something that we offer, and not being aware of services and support that they could receive. Transportation was something that we realized could be a big barrier, because in order to achieve certain goals, they have to reach certain places, and at times that can be very difficult or impossible if the transportation isn't available. Some other factors that we found out were isolation, negative past experiences, in terms for staff, so policy restrictions. So for example, supportive housing workers cannot accompany tenants outside of the building, so that could be a barrier in terms of achieving or a certain step in a goal. And also just having some confusion around what is a goal that is related to housing stability, and being able to clarify what exactly that is. So those are some of the root causes that we identified during the diagnostic process. I'm going to pass this on to Josh now to continue on with our presentation.
Hello? Okay, so here's our run chart for the outcome measures. So what's really fascinating about this chart is that we actually haven't really rolled out any of our change ideas yet. So, but here you can actually see from January 18th, we had 3% of the population, the regular population of our tenant members participating in goal coaching. And you can see there's an increase up to August of 11%. So with that being said, like going forward with our aim statement, we really want to try and hit that 20% target. So it's expected that once we roll out our change ideas, that there should be a definite spike in the numbers of participation going forward. So we can move to the next slide. And so here's one of our change ideas, which is creating a poster which clarifies the housing workers' roles, because a lot of like during our EBDs is that the tenants, and as Michelle was saying, is that the tenants were like, I don't know what the roles are. I don't understand. Or, so first, when we first did our first draft for the PDSA, it was the first image there on, I guess, the left. And it's very simplified. So the feedback we got back is it's very limited. It wasn't very clear how is it connecting, and because we really wanted to relate the goals, because the goals are just the word goal itself is such a broad spectrum, we really wanted to fine tune it into around housing stability goals and how it relates to housing stability. So here we created the final draft, which is on the other side, and it's a little more clarified, it's broken down, and the feedback we got from the staff was that, because our first PDSA was to roll it out to the staff, and that was during our departmental meeting. Now, unfortunately, that day, the departmental meeting was actually canceled, and then we weren't going to go through, but because of time constraints, we were like, we need to go ahead with this. So then we basically kind of hunt down as many staff as we could as they were leaving the meeting and got them to fill out our surveys regarding this feedback on the form. And so from that, they were like, it's visually attractive, info need to be clarified. Then after we rolled out the following week was the second PDSA. So because our department is broken into 3 teams, so we broke out into each team, and then we had more time during like a team meeting where we can sit down, survey the staff, get their feedback, and really kind of go through. And then that's what led to the final image there. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see the data here from our run chart for the process measures. So the bright red, the top bar there shows the second PDSA, and the first PDSA is in the orange. So our surveys where we surveyed to the staff is like, we were getting like, okay, is it visually attractive? Is the information clear, and is it in the language that tenants can understand? Because again, our next PDSA would be to roll this out to our tenant members and get their feedback as well as to, okay, do we get more tenants? Are they going to participate more? Are they going to have a clearer understanding as to the goal coaching process? And then as well as, was there sufficient details? And we left also an option for staff to give like just kind of like open-ended questions around like what they think could be suggested. So we can go to the next slide. And then so kind of like our qualitative results were around, okay, like based on the EBD, tenants have identified that there was confusion around the roles. So with the previous slides, like staff were like, okay, like we can really understand the roles and case management, and yes, this is a tool that we can use going forward. So in terms of our predictions, we wanted to clarify the roles and then create a standardized process. So that's where the process map comes into play, where we can actually roll this out and create case scenarios and training with the staff so that we can fine tune the goal coaching process. Pardon?
Is someone trying to get me?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So now I have to use the computer one only. Okay, so the next one, we're going to talk about our challenges. I guess everybody would be going to the same thing that we went through about, we had a lot of discussion on a problem and the aim statement, and identifying those appropriate one, and we made a lot of changes going back and forth on that. The other challenges that we had was developing whether defining it that our regular goals should be regular standardized, or it should be more towards housing stability, because we're a housing provider. So it should be, the goal should be only around housing stability, or it can be anything else. So we had a lot of those, and then we defined what is housing stability as well. The other challenges were finding the specific root cause and differentiating between the symptoms and the root cause. We had a lot of staff turnovers as well. So again, the team was quite a lot shifting. So some of the staff that moved around was Mainstay staff as well as the tenant who were on the team. And it was challenging to keep the tenants on the team. We had 3 in the beginning, and then when we were just winding this up, we had only 1 tenant member at the end. The other challenge we had was using the experience-based design model. So that one, it took us a little bit longer time than expected because we had to engage other tenants from different locations and going to that site and interviewing those tenants. So even that took us a long time, and it is challenging to bring the tenants out and explaining them that what are we doing, because at times they don't see the end result. So they're like, why am I being asked all these questions? Then the last is too much time, and everybody did talk about that the summertime was difficult to bring everybody on the boat due to holidays or their own vacation time. The other is the time commitment that this project expected was a little bit longer. And for the summertime, it was too much to ask from the staff as well. So those were our challenges. We're gonna go for the next one. What were we most excited about? We were all very excited to be a part of the QI project. Mainstay itself was excited to be a part of this team. We were all learning the new tools. We did have an idea about the tools, but putting those into practice and practicing those, again, fish bones, and we were excited to try EBD, which we didn't do it in the past. So that was exciting for us. The other was, this was the first time in a QI project we engaged the tenants. So that was, again, good to hear from them directly and having them as a part of our team. That was amazing. I'm also very excited to see what would be the tenant's response towards and how is it going to roll out, and the effectiveness of the tool, what it would look like when we're going to do the other PDSA. Of course, we're going to miss the QI coaches and the team when we're going to do all of those pieces. I don't know if there is any possibility for us to have any extension to have the team with us. But I'm just going to say that for sure. The couple of them was, yes, we were able to create real tangible materials for this from this whole project. So that was really good. And we are waiting to see the impacts on it. So the other factors enabling us for the project progress was, of course, our mission that to operate high quality housing. So that is our driver into this project. And our other driver is that supporting the tenants to maintain the housing and to achieve and have a quality of good quality of life. The other one was working together as a team. It was really good to have that. The other one was tight timelines to keep the task going. And I guess that's it. And I'm going to give it to Azat.
If we move towards the next slide is what do you do differently next time? So what we learned from this project is it takes time. Quality improvement work, as we know, is takes some time. In order to come up with some, something that we're working on, diagnostics and root causes. Come up with change ideas. All of these things takes time. So what we are doing initially, we were meeting twice a month for a couple of hours in each meeting. So we were meeting twice a month for 4 hours. So what we thought is, after this project ended, we thought it would have been much better for us if we can meet for a full day. So that we can sort out everything. One of the challenges that we faced that when we couldn't complete finish our work in that 2 hour time period, and then next time when you again come back, then you have to again rethink everything that where you're left. So it would be better for our next project that we commit the whole day, so that we can finish the work that we plan for. The other thing that we would do is brainstorm in between meetings. Again, we have other commitments. So the team that we have other work, so it's very difficult to commit a time that is again setting aside some time other than our regular work. So it would be helpful come in meetings prepared so that we can brainstorm in between meetings and then come and contribute highly. So these are the two things that we have identified that maybe we'll do differently next time. Impact on our organization beyond this project will be improve the quality of Mainstay tenant experience. Is one of our key strategic direction is to improve the Mainstay tenant experience. So we strongly believe that is going to impact because we have our tenant team members participated in the QI team directly, and we learned so many things from our coaches from the E-QIP team altogether. So it's the QI tools and knowledge and skills that's going to be definitely impact the whole organization and improve the tenant experience. One other impact that we are expecting is tenants will be able to maintain their housing, and one of the challenges that our tenant members face is homelessness. So if they are not meeting their goals in related to housing stability, they will be homeless. So we don't want that. So we believe that this project will enable this. Tenants improve their mental and physical well-being, reducing usage of high-cost emergency services. So it's again, as the system always focus on, is to reducing the ED visits. It's costs the system money, a lot of money. So we want, if the tenants are identifying their goals, working on their goals, and achieving that, hopefully. So it's definitely reducing the emergency department visits and saves the system money, which we definitely expect that's going to impact our organization in this way as well. We have trained staff. We have some great team members in our team who have learned all the QI tools and skills that we have learned from the trainings and from our coaches. It's going to definitely help us. Our team members, we all together will be sharing our knowledge with other staff with our colleagues, and it's going to be spread out. So we have that ideas training. Again, these all things will be contributing to impact our organization in a great way. So again, enhance staff skills, knowledge, and experience in delivering high quality services to tenants. As we grow, we have the skills, so we can provide high quality services to our tenant members. So these are the impacts that we're definitely going to expect to see in the coming days and months. So if we go to the next slide, is next steps to progress improvement. So you can see we haven't gone too far as we have expected, because as we have mentioned in our challenges, we had a lot of challenges that we faced over this project. So we want to complete this project and see if it's going to be and how it's working, the knowledge that we have gained, the skills and expertise that we have, how it's going to utilize that. So we're really excited to complete this project, apply the QI tools effectively in other projects that we're working on. So we have a quality improvement plan, and so we are working on other projects. So we like to utilize these skill sets in our other projects. So from coming out from this project, we have created some tangible materials. We'll use it in our future training to newer staff. So we are going to utilize those, create those training materials, and review it on a yearly basis. So we have created, and we will just not be leaving this alone. We'll be reviewing this, so if there are any changes required. We have a number of quality improvement indicators and our dashboard. So we'll be looking at those closely and take any corrective measures as necessary. So for the next point, from our learning, who will benefit and how we're going to share our learning, it is mostly around, if we move to the previous slide, so QI team members can participate in other team meetings projects to train staff. So that is, we have discussed about this. Other department can benefit from QI team's knowledge as well. Tenant team members in the QI team can also, the tenants can take the lead in transferring their learnings to other tenants. That's again will help. There is an opportunity to share the work among partner organizations through our collaborative work. So we have our partners, we have our quarterly partners meetings, so we can share our work with our partners. So that is how we can share. So this is mostly in a nutshell of our some thoughts on our projects. So last but definitely not the least, if you move forward, the next slides is yeah, it's special thanks, to Nicole and Anna. Is very helpful. We learned a lot from from both of you, and the entire E-QIP team is really helpful in this throughout our journey of this project, and we really appreciate and your contribution, and we're looking forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Azad.
Thank you.
So, some exciting work that you were involved in, and great to hear about your experience with tenants. Some great learning there for the rest of the departments. Just a quick question, if I could. In your run chart, you're starting to see some changes happening. What do you attribute that to?
We have already working on this. Before we started this project with E-QIP, we have been working with tenants goals. But as you can see, the results that we can see from our run chart is not where we want to land, where we want to reach. So the progress is pretty slow. So we want to go a little faster. That's why all this is all this work that we're coming along, and I believe when we roll this out, we implement all these things, all the change ideas that we've came up, we'll be running faster.
Okay, thank you.